Welcome back to the Balancing Act podcast. I'm Andy Tempe. On the Balancing Act, we talk to business leaders and industry experts to explore the balancing acts we play in our professional lives and learn about the events that put rocket boosters behind their career success. Today, we have Mike Terzis joining us. Mike is the Chief Product Officer at Mindex, the #1 software developer in Rochester, New York, creator of New York State's market-leading student management system, SchoolTool. All you got to do is look at Mike's shirt for the SchoolTool logo. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
It's wonderful to see you again. In the spirit of full disclosure, Mike and I worked together at Kaplan Professional for a number of years. Mike had a long and storied career at Kaplan and is now off doing great things at Mindex. Mike, before we get started, I ask this question of all our guests. Please tell our listeners your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in England, in the UK. I studied physics, so educated as a physicist. Always been interested in computers, numerical modeling. My first job out of university was actually Kaplan. And it was fortuitous that I landed in that role. I started actually as a data entry clerk. And then gradually moved up and through various positions and found my feet as a business analyst and then as a product owner, technical program manager, all the various titles that then lead their way up to a technology leader over time. I've also had my feet in analytics as well with you at Kaplan Professional. And then more recently, I've moved into working at Mindex, as you said, heading up their flagship product, SchoolTool.
Yeah, I used to love kidding around because we were both working in education, and we would say, "Well, it's not rocket science." And then you with your physics degree, and I think you had an interest in that field. Oh yeah, we do have a rocket scientist that's working with us. That was always a lot of fun. Speaking of rocket boosters, if you had to pick one event in your life that was a key accelerant for your career, what is that event?
I think I would have to say it was the opportunities that were presented to me as a result of being willing to travel across the world and work with various divisions of the company that I was working with at that time. And specifically, after a couple of engagements, having the willingness to come to the States and the degree of opportunity that there just happens to be in the States was really the key accelerant for my career, combined with timing. The financial crisis, I think, put everybody in a very unique position. And it just created a wealth of opportunities. And as long as you were willing to lean into those that were presented to you, you could move ahead in your career very, very quickly.
Yeah, we were just talking about the Great Recession, the financial crisis with a guest that was just on the show, and how that opportunity, if you took advantage of it and ran toward the fire, the proverbial fire, and as you said, leaned into it, that was an accelerant for that individual's career as well, mine too. So. Thanks for sharing that, Mike. Let's dive in. Let's talk about Mindex for just a bit. Give us a little more insight into the Mindex business model.
Sure. Mindex is really in two businesses as a software company, services and products. So on the services side, we work with large enterprise SaaS companies to help them build their products. We do that across generally the upstate New York area. We also are a cloud services partner as well. So we help organizations take their workloads to the cloud, and then we manage them for them as well. And actually, a synergy that we have between what we do for enterprise SaaS companies on the software development side plays out on the cloud services side as well, where we can help any company modernize their app, make it cloud native. And we also have a data and analytics team there too, to help out on those areas as well. And then on the product side, we have SchoolTool, which is the flagship product for Mindex, that is goes to market rather through the New York State education system. We work with what's called boards of cooperative educational services out in New York State, and they help us deliver our product to school districts. We're in approximately 50% of school districts in New York State. So our business model there, as opposed to professional services, is an annual service that we offer to those districts, and they use our software to essentially manage all of the academic back office administration processes at their districts, ranging from grading, attendance, discipline, nurse visits, and so on. You can imagine all of the sort of the tasks that are involved in managing the school district there. We generally support on the academic side.
Wow, that's quite the portfolio that you're in charge of. Very, very proud of you there. Mike, you've been a change agent in the world of technology and product management since I've first known you. Let's talk about balancing acts. That's the name of the show. So what's the most important balancing act that a chief product officer has to play? And here I'm looking for chief product officers in general.
Yeah. As a chief product officer, and as a head of product in general, I think that, and this is analogous actually to many business positions, and it just happens to be, the key balancing act that I would say that I have to play as well is needing to solve your customers' problems with limited resources, and ultimately, you never have the level of resources that you would need in order to solve absolutely everybody's problems. So there's always a balancing act that you have to play with respect to how to most effectively deploy the resources that you have at your disposal in order to address the right problems to keep the business moving forwards and to keep your customers happy, and for that to help them achieve as many of their goals as they would like to. And in our case, that's school districts. Whilst you're trying to keep your current customers happy with the product that they've been on, you also have to strike the balancing act of features or value that you need to deliver in order to win new customers as well. It's incredibly difficult. And I work with many product owners, product managers on their roadmaps, and how to interpret all the various pieces of information that we gather from surveys and interviews and pulse checks and account meetings and so on and so forth to essentially try to distill that down into a decision-making framework to say that we should, work on project A now and project B next, and here's how many resources we should apply to each one. So for me, I would say that that's the largest balancing act that I have to play, and I also have to help other people play and deal with that work within my discipline.
Yeah, thanks for shining a bright light on that tension that really exists. And the only thing that I would throw in is that the importance of relationship management and having a relationship management team that can help build a strong relationship with your customer, so that the customer can see that balancing act play out, and the customer knows that you're doing the very best for them, but you do have limited resources. Where relationship management goes awry is when you say, well, we can do everything for you at any time, just bring it on. And that's just, unless you have an unlimited pool of money and talent, which no company does, that tension is there, and having a really strong relationship with your customer is essential to get through that.
Yeah, I think that SchoolTool and Mindex have been known for quite some time to have great service. But one thing that we've worked very hard on, which I think sort of addresses the point that you were making there, is over the last 2 years, we've worked very hard to bring our customers into the development process.
Yeah.
And look at the relationship not as a vendor customer relationship, but a partner relationship. And ultimately, we think that that's leading to us being more successful. And as you say, there's when you pursue that avenue, there's a greater degree of shared understanding as well.
Right. And you're going to, in the long term, you're going to keep that customer for much, much longer. I want to shift gears to your career arc. We all play balancing acts in our lives. And if we try to tell ourselves that we don't, I think we're lying to ourselves. What's the most important balancing act you've played that's contributed to your personal career success?
Yeah. To my personal career success, it's actually a more personal response maybe than you would be anticipating. And I think that it's making sure that I take the time out from work to spend with my friends and my family. I would not be successful in my career if I wasn't successful at home. I think having children has shown me, how much time I have to spend at home and how much they need from me. And I make sure that I spend that time every day. I take my son to school. I pick him up from school. I make his dinner. I have an incredibly demanding job as well, and the balancing act that I play there is after bedtime, which I also make sure that I'm involved in. If I need to complete work, outside of the regular work day, then it's after my son and my daughter have gone to bed, and not before or during. Because I found that if you spend that time that you are supposed to be spending with them, it can affect your ability to work within the day. So it's the most effective, productive way, I think, and it's the biggest balancing act that I would say that I play in my personal career, and it's the largest balancing act that I've had to manage as well as I've gone through that career arc and my positions have grown over time.
Yeah, a lot of people get themselves in the mindset that I've got to work to climb up the ladder, and the regrets that can pile up can really start to weigh on you and affect your ability to be a productive team member and a focused team member. So thank you so much for bringing that to the fore here. Mike, we're going to take a really short commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Andy Temte. Over the past 35 years, I've learned a lot about business leadership, and I'd like to share those lessons with you. Ask yourself, how do I create an effective, sustainable management operating system? How do I design smooth workflows to better serve the customer? How do I balance organizational trust with accountability? The Balanced Business describes the practical, step-by-step process you need to answer these questions. Order your copy today wherever books are sold. And we're back with Mike Terzis talking about the world of product management within technology and software development organizations. Mike, you and I have had many conversations about the balancing act between productivity and meeting commercial deadlines with the creative process that's central to the world of software development. What advice do you have for aspiring chief product officers, chief technology officers to balance those commercial demands with creating an optimal working environment for the developers that you have in your charge?
Sure. I believe that when individuals are under strain and stress, um, sometimes that can lead to a tailing off of the ability for individuals to be creative. Um, and at the same time, some deadlines can help to sharpen the mind, and it's amazing, how much work you can get done when you have a deadline in place. So there's absolutely a balancing act that you sort of have to play to make sure that work ebbs and flows over time, especially for individuals that need to be creative. So then the largest balancing act for me is how you organize work so that there are those breaks for individuals so that they don't get burnt out, because ultimately when you have deadlines, everybody uh, works very hard towards them, and there's inevitably, even with the world's best planning, there's some degree of snow plowing rather, of the effort towards the end. And there needs to be a release afterwards and an acknowledgement. And you have to let individuals that are creative, relax. You have to give them space to relax. Otherwise, you won't get the best out of them. Um, I think my second answer to this problem would be focus as well. And I think focus comes from, first and foremost, a clear strategy, and then um, articulating it and communicating it over and over again, and working with your organization to make sure that everybody's in alignment, and that you are focusing as an organization on the few things that are really going to move the needle right now. But will build towards your strategic goals. So it's for me, the answer to the question is helping individuals by ensuring that there's ebb and flow in their work, and then also helping individuals to make sure that there's focus in their workload as well. Are the two biggest balancing acts that you have to manage in order to get most out of people, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to just really stress that focus point. I have been guilty, and you have seen it directly in our work together, of trying to be too much at once, trying to eat too many elephants at the same time. The goal set too wide, too many customers, and so if you're a senior leader listening to this show right now, listen to Mike Terzis on the focus element. Get your goal setting crystal clear, and then follow through, because I can attest that when you're swinging everybody all over the place, and this is important 1 minute, and then that's important the next, that can really detract from the culture, and certainly detracts from productivity.
And I would say at times I'm guilty of goal stuffing too, which is what I would call it, because of the pressures that a business leader faces. It's the same pressure that you face with the balancing act as the chief product officer, and you have limited resources, but you want to make everybody happy. Well, as a business leader, you want to get everything done, and ultimately you can't, and you have to make choices. And I think the 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 biggest thing that the biggest source of insight for me in making the best decisions comes from those that are ultimately doing the work and making sure that you're remaining close to those individuals and you're creating a culture where they feel safe enough to give you that feedback on what they can and can't do and what they feel that they should and should not do based upon the strategy that you've articulated.
Well, right on, Mike. And I think you just created a term for the Urban Dictionary or the Urban Business Dictionary: goal stuffing. I had never heard that before. Goal stuffing defined as just trying to pack 10 pounds of you know what in a 5-pound sack.
That's right. You got it.
Nice. So let's talk technology now. I'd like to focus here on managing technical debt with innovation. As a reminder for our listeners, technical debt is the implied cost that's incurred from technical challenges that aren't fixed in a timely manner. One of Mindex's primary customers are K-12 school systems, which I have to imagine have lots of technical debt, just like any other company or institution. How do you coach technology leaders and school administrators on how to balance addressing the historical technical debt with the persistent need to innovate?
Yeah, I think for Mindex and the specific line of business within which we operate with school districts, it's the technical debt within our software product that you always have if you build software. That I have to engage my customers on. Customers always want to see new things, and that those new things are more often than not innovations. But the rate at which you can bring more new things to bear for them is dependent upon the rate at which you can also manage and deal with your technical debt. If you never clean house, you're never going to be, you're always going to be building on a shaky foundation, and it will come home to roost.
Yes.
So it's always a case of making sure that we do everything in moderation. For one of an English saying, it's a case of, yes, we can do some innovation, but we also have to make sure that we're taking care of our technical debt as we go. And I think that it's a case of being open and transparent with our customers and educating them on the right choices to make. And again, coming back to what we were talking about earlier in the conversation, bringing our customers into our development process as partners really enables us to do that.
Yeah. Again, another great point. And if you're a non-technical leader, organizational leader, please listen very carefully that every time, without exception, when you innovate, you're going to create technical debt that you add to the pile. And if you're always trying to innovate, as Mike said, someday all that technical debt has to show its head at some point. It's going to show up as a negative in your P&L, in your culture, work environment, et cetera. So thanks for that, Mike.
Yeah. And there's also, I think that largely speaks to internal technical debt that you create yourself, maybe through moving too fast and trying to solve too many problems too quickly. But there's also the sort of externally created technical debt that's placed upon you by advancements elsewhere or by new security attacks that may emerge. So I think it's also good to acknowledge the fact that not all technical debt is technical debt that you create, and also work with your customer to educate them on that fact as well.
Right. Okay, Mike, as we're getting close to the end here, let's have a little fun. I've got 2 lightning round questions for you. Number 1, if you had access to a time machine and could send a message to an earlier version of Mike Terzis, what's the message and what version of yourself do you send it to?
Sure. Well, it would be any version of myself younger than I am today, but my message would be don't worry so much. Obviously I end up where I am, so everything's going to work out fine in the end. There's been lots of points where, in my career, I've not known what is going to come next, but an opportunity has always come along. And then, along the same vein of don't worry so much, it would be don't worry so much about what other people may think about you or what you're doing. Focus on you and why you're doing what you're doing, and believe in yourself and have confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Too often we're just looking for excuses to push things off and blaming other folks. Focus on yourself first. That's a great message. Mike, question number 2. What's the best non-monetary investment you've ever made that's contributed to your overall well-being?
Well, I think it would be spending time with my friends, traveling to see them. They're, a long distance from me. And then also making sure that I work out when I can work out.
Yeah. Yeah, that the workout element. Kate Lander was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and she just said walking, just getting out, feeling the breeze in her hair, allowing the mind to wander, adds to mental plasticity, agility.
You can be even more reductive and just say moving.
Yeah. Well, fascinating studies now coming out. I was listening to National Public Radio the other day, and 5 minutes an hour of just getting up, walking around, coming back to your desk. It doesn't have to be a workout. It's just like walking around increases overall well-being, productivity, a whole host of metrics lift just from that instead of just grinding away at your desk. So very cool. So Mike, final question. What's next for Mindex? What are you excited about? What keeps you up at night?
I think what I'm excited about is the new products and services that we're bringing to bear. We're working with some of our enterprise SaaS partners on integration services. There's a lot of solutions that are out there that let you connect one application to another, but very few of them wrap enough services around them to truly take the headache away from partners. And that's something that we're working on right now and is a large opportunity for us. It's also helping to bring various parts of Mindex as an organization together. Historically, we've operated reasonably separately between our products and our services side, but now it's an opportunity to collaborate, which is great. Analytics as well is a huge new opportunity for us on our existing products and with new customers too. I'm terribly excited about the work that we have in process to reimagine analytics on SchoolTool using the cloud. And then finally, going back to our services, the strength, the muscle that we're building with our cloud services portfolio, as that grows, and I'm heavily involved in that, we're able to take all of that and inject all of that experience and expertise back into our products. So what we're seeing emerge is this really exciting flywheel, I guess, between our services and our products. And yes, I did just steal a term out of your vernacular, but dictionary. But I do think that's what's happening, and that is what truly excites me about where we're heading as a company.
Oh, very, very cool. Very cool. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Well, my name is Andy Tempty. This is the Balancing Act podcast. You can find us on all the major streaming services as well as out on YouTube. This episode was produced by Nicholas Tempty. Please like, subscribe, rate, and most importantly, share this show with your friends. We're trying to create a public good and help everyone learn and grow with the great advice that you get from folks like Michael Terzis. Have a great day.